Hey everyone, I'm Tyler Metcalf and I watch the film so you don't have to. On this video, we're taking a look at Carter Bryant and why he's a perfect fit for the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs had an awesome draft. Obviously, Dylan Harper is the crown jewel at 2. And, maybe his fit's a little questionable, whatever. Talent figures itself out, and they don't plan to be picking at 2 ever again, or at least in a very long time. So you take the swing and you figure it out later. The bigger question was what they were going to do at 14. And luckily for them, one of my favorite 3 and D wings with a ton of upside fell to them, and he is Carter Bryant, the freshman wing from Arizona. Bryant isn't much of an on ball creator or playmaker necessarily. There's some upside and some intrigue there, but where he really is going to earn his minutes is awesome defense and off ball scoring. It's a perfect fit for what this Spurs roster needs. He provides some more athleticism, defensive versatility, and off ball scoring versatility. Let's take a look at the film. Welcome to film school. Let's dive in. One of the biggest issues that the Spurs had to address in this draft was off ball shooting. Carter Bryant isn't Trey Johnson or Con Knippel, but he's really reliable. He isn't the best shooter in this draft, but he's really solid as he ranked in the 73rd percentile in spot up scoring, the 66th percentile shooting off the catch, and the 82nd percentile when left open. The Spurs have some solid shooters, and obviously the full season and chemistry of De'Aaron Fox and Wemby both being healthy should help some of the looks that they get, but they didn't have the consistency and effectiveness throughout the bench and throughout the lineup that they needed, as they ranked 20th in 3-point percentage and 16th in spot up scoring. It's just simply not good enough, and especially with the scoring gravity and downhill pressure that Fox, Harper, Castle, and Wemby are all going to generate, off-ball scorers should be able to feast from 3. Bryant has a quick release. The shot has continued to improve every single year. Solid mechanics, still some refinement needed, but really encouraging foundation for him to continue to build on. And he does a great job of just finding open pockets on the perimeter and throughout the floor to execute and make himself available for clean looks, and that ability to naturally relocate to open positions is really valuable, especially when you have the on-ball creators and rim pressure guys that the Spurs already have. As an off-ball scorer, Bryant is also a really, really smart and effective cutter, especially with his explosiveness. Now, last season, the Spurs didn't really have any cutters. They ranked 24th in frequency and 16th in points per possession on cuts. It's just not good enough. Now, given the downhill rim pressure that Castle and Fox and Harper are going to generate, and how they're probably going to have to live in the paint given some of the questions around their shooting, there may not be a ton of opportunities for Carter to really cut and really exploit the defense that way, because you don't want to clog up the paint and make the spacing even worse for those guys. But when in games where he gets hot and defenders start trying to play some ball denial defense on him, he's really smart about cutting back door, finding those open lanes, and getting easy buckets at the rim. So here, Arizona is going to just simulate a little DHO action here, and Bryant catches his defender cheating. He catches him playing really high. He knows that since Vesar is up here, he sees the rim protector at the top of the key. He knows the paint is totally unoccupied. So instead of trying to force this, he just immediately catches his defender peeking over his shoulder. He sees his defender's focus on the ball here. He's anticipating a screen, so Bryant says, screw it. Let me just bolt towards the rim, and right here, he's open. Great job, high hand, really good pass from Vesar. Does a good job of shielding off the defender to make sure that Bryant can separate and keep hit and maintain that advantageous position. Catches it in stride, explosive off 2 feet, big dunk. Here we have him spotting up in the corner, similar thing. He catches the defender trying to jump this passing lane, play ball denial defense, so he says, screw it. I'm going to make you pay for being a little too over aggressive. Cuts baseline, great bounce pass, and Carter does a really good job of elevating back into the rotating rim protector by finishing on the near side of the rim here and elevating back into the shot blocker. He takes away the shot blocker's ability to elevate, and initiates that contact and finishes through it. If he would have tried to go for a finesse finish here or a reverse or something on the other side, given the rotation, the help rotation here likely would have either just blocked it, forced him into a really, really bad shot, or just not allowed a shot at all. But by elevating the way he did into the contact, he has the strength and explosiveness to finish through it. Probably should have gotten a foul there too. On top of the cut, what the cutting also generates is really advantageous rebounding situations. So as Vasar drives here, we see Carter spotting up in the opposite corner, but he's active. He's trying to make himself available. He's trying to find open pockets that he can exploit. So instead of just standing in the corner, he finds this open lane to cut into. And from here, and these types of cuts off of really aggressive drivers like a De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, Steph Castle, Carter will be able to get opportunities like this, whether he's cutting into the middle of the floor or cutting baseline into the dunker spot. There are going to be opportunities because all eyes are going to be focused on those three guards in Wemby. So Carter, with his off-ball activity, is going to be able to find, or he's going to find very opportunistic ways to score. But since even when he doesn't get the pass here, though, that cut put him in position to get an offensive rebound because his defender is now on the left side of the floor. Carter is the only one with access to that right side of the floor. So if the ball bounces off towards that right block, Carter's going to be the only one who can get there. As the shot goes up, that's exactly what happens. Carter does a really good job of pursuing it, times his jump to perfection. Since he made that cut initially, he's the only one there in position to grab it. Puts it right back up, doesn't waste any time. Easy tip dunk. But those kind of opportunities are what really make life easier for on-ball creators with their rim pressure, because whether he's relocating on the perimeter or cutting towards the rim, Carter Bryant is constantly finding these open pockets on the floor to exploit defenses and make life easier for his primary creators. Bryant's offensive upside and fit is fun, but his real value and immediate value is on defense. This year, only him and Thomas Sorber were the only freshmen in this draft to have a block rate over 5.5 and a steal rate over 2.5. His combination of defensive fundamentals and deterrence, along with the defensive playmaking, is really special. For my money, he's the best perimeter defender in this class. The way that he combines athletic tools, explosiveness with his fundamentals is pretty special. He has the versatility to basically switch anything on the perimeter and then even occasionally guard up to some fours, depending on matchup, obviously. But he's like a 1 through 3.5 type of defender, given his combination of strength, power, and quickness. The way that he sits down in a stance allows him to move his feet really, really effectively. And the importance of that is, so on this clip, we get a combination of fundamentals with footwork, strength deterring a drive, and then discipline on contesting the shot. So right away on this, the ball handler crosses over. Carter kind of gets shook a little bit, but since he's down in that low defensive stance, he's able to quickly recover, explode back, cut off that drive, play with his chest, get his chest in front of the ball handler. Really good defensive stance. He's on balance. That allows him to absorb the contact. Ball handler tries to push off here, create that separation. Doesn't work because Carter has that defensive stance. He's on balance and he has the strength to absorb it. Times his jump to perfection. Really good contest that he actually gets a block on. So not only is he a solid weak side shot blocker, as we'll see in a little bit here, but a lot of his blocks come in on-ball situations where he's blocking jump shots, which is pretty special. So here he's on Cooper Flagg, switches the handoff to Tyrese Proctor, and we see that really similar setup where Proctor tries to blow by him, but absolutely impeccable footwork here by Carter. Sitting low in that stance. He's not faking it. It's a very real defensive stance. Does a great job sliding his feet, staying low, absorbs the contact, and then doesn't bite on the fake spin move. Stays attached, slides his feet the entire time, and forces a kick out. Malawach drains the corner three. But from Bryant's perspective on what his assignment is here, it's absolutely perfection. Sticking with the smaller, quicker guard, absorbs the contact, shows off perfect fundamentals, doesn't cross his feet, doesn't sacrifice his balance, doesn't panic, stays composed, and forces the tough shot late in the shot clock. On this one, he's matched up against Darian Williams, so we've seen him deal with speed and shut that down pretty quickly. And now he's going up against just a classic bully ball forward in Darian Williams. Little brush screen to start off, gets Darian Williams down to the block immediately. No problem. Carter's just going to battle. Good wide stance, stays attached, absorbs the contact again. Williams doesn't create any separation. For the vast majority of the season, this is where Darian Williams lived. And he feasted on these little push shots, but he didn't have Carter Bryant guarding him the whole time. So as Williams rises up for this little lefty hook, Carter times his jump to perfection. The fact that he was able to absorb all these body bumps, stay on balance, surrender zero space to Williams, allows him to time his jump and contest to perfection and get the block. And eventually the rebound. Here we see him change multiple directions again. I mean, I know it's Akron. It's not a powerhouse program, but they're a solid team, and, they're in the tournament for a reason. But what I want to key in here is Carter's fundamentals with his footwork and how quick his hips are. So to start, he's initially a little out of position because he's helping over, playing that passing lane, trying to play ball denial, and his man's going to relocate towards the middle of the floor. And Carter was a little busy watching him, lost track of the ball a little bit, but once he gains awareness of both ball and man, he's locked in. And as his man tries to attack that high foot, attack back against his momentum, doesn't matter because Carter does a tremendous job of opening those hips up, dropping that left foot, and all right, now we're just sliding our feet back the other way. Doesn't matter, we're good, and it's that low defensive stance. Look at how that squat that he's getting in, real strong fundamentals. Ball handler tries to cut back again. Carter does a really good job just opening up that right hip, and now we're just sliding back the other way. This is stuff that so frequently gets overlooked, but makes all the difference in the world with the elite defenders because he is always on balance. He's never sacrificing. He's never sacrificing his footwork. He's never sacrificing his balance, and he's never panicking. He's staying low in that stance, playing through his chest, and being really physical while also really agile. Times his jump to perfection, gets a good contest on it. Shooter does a good job of creating at least a little bit of a window. And in the NBA, that's probably going to go in sometimes. But the fact that you're making life this difficult and getting as good of a contest on that as you can, that's really impressive. So from go, I would expect Carter Bryant to be a really impactful defender that fits perfectly in the culture and the expectations that the San Antonio Spurs have generated from their young players. Where a lot of young players tend to struggle on defense, they're great individual defenders, but where they fall short is typically with their team defense and ability to quickly process rotations and be disciplined enough to make those rotations, to recover and be where they need to be. That wasn't an issue, and it almost has never been an issue with Carter Bryant. The off-ball defense is just as good, just as impactful, and exciting and versatile as the on-ball defense. And when we think about him with the Spurs and how this defense fits into a lineup with Steph Castle and Jeremy Sohan and Victor Wembanyama and Dylan Harper, it's pretty exciting. There is so much to work with. It's another infusion of size, strength, explosiveness, athleticism, versatility, where the Spurs are going to be a nightmare to score on in the next handful of years, however long this core is together, because and Carter Bryant is going to be a big reason for that. That ability to be incredibly active, not just active, because a lot of players are active, but it's without purpose, it's without direction, it's without instinct. And Carter's activity is also paired with all of that. He processes his rotations really well. He's disciplined as a weak side rim protector without fouling, does a good job of staying vertical, really good hands blocking shots and forcing steals. And he's constantly thinking the game. He's not just playing, he's not just reacting, but he's thinking the game and thinking where the next ball, where the next pass, where the next play is going. So he's always in position. So here we see him as the low man, and just Milo Suzan blow by drive. Carter does a really good job of rotating over, forcing the kick out, does a good job of staying vertical. He knows he's not out of the restricted area, so we're not taking a charge here. Instead, jumps straight up, doesn't swipe down, forces the kick out. From here, head immediately on a swivel, and now it's, all right, where do I go? He doesn't panic close out over here because he knows that's not his assignment. Instead, he knows that Emmanuel Sharp is over here on the wing, so he initially heads that way, but as both his teammates get beat off the drive, he stays put in the middle of the lane because he knows Vesar's going to have to rotate over as the primary shot blocker, so he has to stay home to try and deal with the opposing big here. Instead, while he's doing that, though, he's keeping an eye on the ball and anticipating, because he knows he's probably going to have to close out there. So once Cryer leaves his feet, Bryant's bolting back out to the opposite wing, closes out under control, gets a late hand up, pretty, relatively clean look for Sharp, but the ground coverage and multiple rotations here from Bryant is what I would expect to see from him in a Spurs system that requires guys to do a lot of that, because head on a swivel, really active, trying to be in the right spot. And they get the miss out of it. Here we see him playing the drop big, or playing the center position essentially in the pick and roll, and hard hedges, forces the ball handler out, good use of his strength. And now that he's forced him out and the ball handler is pulling back, he immediately goes to recover, hand up, just minor deterrent stuff, but constantly defending with his hands up, not giving up free passing lanes just for the heck of it, recovers, and now he's right back in the muck of it. As his man gets the ball, Carter reads that the guard is denying the handoff and cutting. He reads it, gets a little dig in there, jars it loose a little bit, help rotation by Vesar, forces the kick out, and now Bryant's going into hunting mode and gets a little opportunistic here. Quick hands, pokes it loose from JT Toppin as he's trying to secure it, and now they're going the other way. Pairing on-ball defense into off-ball, disrupts the handoff a little bit, shows to deny the drive, and now he's back to his assignment. High hand, doesn't bite on the fake, low stance, slides his feet, absorbs the contact, makes a really difficult shot, gets a block. And it's stringing on-ball into off-ball, back into on-ball, back into off-ball, where even though he gets the block here, he knows the play's not over because they don't have the ball yet. So instead of just leaking out for something that isn't there, he's still engaged. Jay Acquaintance goes up. I think Vesar gets the block here eventually, but Bryant does a really good job of being present, staying vertical, and deterring and making that finishing angle for Quaintance even more difficult. And they eventually block it out of bounds. Going against John Tanji now. So throughout these defensive clips, we've seen Bryant cover centers, power forwards, wings, point guards, elite scorers who are 5 years older than him in John Tanji. So he gets over that screen, stays attached at the hip, and is able to just force Tanji wide. Really good positioning. The help defense here by Carter's teammate helps make that driving angle a little more difficult, but that's what we, instead of, now just envision Carter doing this with Victor Wembanyama as the drop defender. It's the same premise of that massive human being deterring that drive, making life difficult for the attacker, and giving Bryant even just that half step where he can even recover just a little more effectively. He stays attached, and his defensive pressure forces the pass out. He scoops up the loose ball, pushing in transition. Handle here's a little clunky. Finishing craft not necessarily there, but he's aggressive and draws the foul. You love to see it. Again, on ball, great recognition, great release here of, as that pass goes, Bryant immediately disengages and switches. I love that it's really tempting for a lot of freshmen to jump in this situation. Instead, he's just reading the ball handler and reacting to what he's doing. As the second he makes this pass, he immediately repivots, does a great job of elevating, staying vertical, locating that ball and poking it loose, not fouling, but making multiple rotations, making life difficult for everyone. Again, rotation, good hands, and we're immediately going the other way. That's something else with Bryant's game, where he's constantly looking to turn defensive rebounds, steals, blocks into transition opportunities going the other way. Weak side rim protector, that's his. Give me that. Teammate gets back cut, but he's in really good position. He knows exactly where his man is and where everyone else on the court is. So he's cued into the play. He sees 3 back cut, and he's immediately going. Times it to perfection. Easy block. And really similar thing, just this time from the middle of the floor. He sees, they're running a little Spain pick and roll here. He identifies it. He knows Vesar's blitzing the pick and roll, making life difficult for the ball handler. We saw Bryant do this just a couple clips ago, and then he goes into recover mode. So he knows that his man's there, but Vesar's man, the roller, is in the middle of the lane, and Vesar has yet to disengage. So Bryant doesn't recover back to his man since he's 35 feet from the rim. Instead, he stays home, stays on the roller, and now that puts him in position to rotate over on the drive, elevate, perfect verticality, uses his size, explosiveness, and strength to absorb the contact, force the tough shot. And low man again, elevate, stays vertical, easy peasy. His ability to rotate from the weak side, play the low man, be disruptive, and pairing all of that with discipline, high motor, and exquisite fundamentals makes him just an ideal defensive wing for the San Antonio Spurs. The San Antonio Spurs got incredibly lucky that Carter Bryant fell to them at 14. His infusion of low-maintenance two-way wing play is exactly what they need. He's not a lights-out shooter, but he's a solid one. He's a really active off-ball mover with his cuts and relocations, and when he pairs that with his athleticism, he finds a way to get a lot of really highly efficient looks. The big selling point is the defense, though. Fundamentals, strength, speed, explosiveness. It's exactly what you want from a wing defender who can guard nearly anyone on the court. He reads the game well. He's a smart, unselfish player and has a ton of versatility. He provides the Spurs with something that they just didn't have throughout their rotation, and that's an athletic two-way wing who doesn't need the ball, can execute when the ball swings to him, can occasionally make some really high level passing reads as well as a connective passer. And who knows, maybe the on ball stuff comes down the road. There are flashes of it this year at Arizona, but he was purely in that low maintenance off ball play finishing role. The jumper off the bounce has looked good. They're promising signs, but the handle has to improve. Down the line, he may emerge as more of that on ball creator, more of a Jalen Williams type of mold. I'm not saying he gets to that level, but that would be the aspiration. That would be the hope. And if he does, he's going to be an incredible steal in this draft. Even if he doesn't get to that level, though, he's an archetype that works on every single winning team. He may not be the flashiest point forward on ball scorer that you've ever seen, but he's a winning player. It's all he's ever done is contribute to winning, and I expect that's exactly what he'll do with the San Antonio Spurs.